like to change it now.
I think that would be terribly appropriate. Well, I mean inappropriate. Didn't I say
Inappropriate. There we go.
inappropriate? So, how are you doing today?
Hi, everybody. We're glad you're here. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. I feel like I'm
Oh,
announcing a TV show.
Thursday Night Live, and I did have something I wanted to discuss. I think we've actually
Okay.
even talked about it before. I don't know if you want to talk about it that quick. You want to talk about it that quick?
Hang on. Let me get another sip of coffee.
Mine's real coffee, although Pat Falaska, the Avon rep that always tries to kill me when I go to her house for a sleepover. This is I got this when I was at a party at her house, but it's just got orange soda in it. There's Teresa Staples. Hey, Teresa.
Hey, Teresa. So your coffee cup doesn't have coffee in there? What a coincidence.
It's not even a coffee cup. I think they gave these away at a bar or something. It's like a metal
That looks like a beer cup. Yeah.
beer cup or something.
Do you ever
I'm not a
drink
beer gal. No, it's got to be liquor's quicker.
The candy is dandy, wine is fine, but liquor is quicker.
Oh, bibs on. Sup, Captain. I can tell that's him. And somebody said, you two troublemakers. Uh-oh. Are we troublemakers?
Apparently somebody knows us pretty well.
Hey, we talked about this before, but it keeps being, I don't know, it like in my face all the time. Maybe it's because I look at Facebook too much. Oh, it looks like a rum bucket. Yeah, that day we were at her house. If you know Pat Falaska, we were doing rum buckets at her house. Yeah, and I was the only one that finished mine because Brooks Sanitas' husband said we were wasting liquor because none of us would ever finish the little bucket. So I thought, I'll show him. At that point. I'll show him. So anyway, what the issue is that keeps being a issue. I bet you've had to deal with this. I think we've even talked about it before. Is I would say a good, 80-90% of the time, not just in a sales call, not just at the company meeting or whatever, but stuff that happens. It's our reaction to it that ends up making what happened either good or bad. And I get that it's hard to control, when it's not something that happened that you wanted to happen. I get that. And I wanted to show you an example of how I get it. Of a time, I'm going to show an example where I did the right thing according to me, because it was one of the hardest ones I ever did. It was 2007. That time I got Woman of Enterprise at Avon. I wanted that for years, like 15 years. I dreamt of having that. And then when they called me, I was one of three. The only time they'd ever had more than one. I don't want to say devastated because that's ridiculous. I was annoyed, I guess is more like it. You can't be devastated over something like that, I don't think. Right. You save that for big stuff. But I had to make a split decision that this experience was going to be revolved around how I acted about it. I could say, no, you know what? I don't want to be one of three. Keep your award. But what good would that have done me?
No good at all. It would have been, what's the old saying? Biting your own nose, biting the nose off.
Shoot
something
myself
like
in the
that.
foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And luckily I thought of that. At that moment, it was tough to rein in how I felt about the whole thing because I was not happy. But I thought in 10 years, maybe even sooner, no one is going to know there was three of us unless I tell them. There's even some odds I knew at that moment. There was even some odds that I would be the only one left in the company still because I've been in the company 40 years. I virtually know no one that was in when I started. So I had to decide then to make that a good experience. And I amazingly found the best dress I'd ever had in my life. This is the picture from that event.
Oh, Lisa, that's a great picture.
Isn't that nice? That was like the best dress I'd ever had. Cool. I had really good pictures. They had us individually do, it was almost like press shots.
Mhm.
individually, and we did do some together, but I've only ever used the individual one. So I made a decision on the phone as they told me I got it that I
Mhm.
was going to make this work. I thought, you know what? It doesn't matter. This
Yep.
isn't what I wanted, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to make this work because I realized then that my attitude made all the difference in how it turned out. So
Right.
the,
Well, you
the
think about this. Uh, Bob Berg, everybody knows, Lisa and I are good friends with, and he teaches a process about how you set the frame. And what most people do is they'll react out of the emotional, that they're going to have an emotion about what's going on. It sets off something inside them that feels so weird, and they might not even realize that's going on, but it sets off something inside them, and then they react based on that. But if you kind of control your own emotions, you make sure you understand. You take a second just kind of clarify things. If it's in a sales process, you'll say something with the person to make sure you understand. In this case, that's not applicable. But then you just reframe it slightly. On one hand, yeah, that kind of chapped your butt a little bit that happened, but you kept your cool, you controlled your emotions, and you kind of reframed it that, okay, I can still make the best of this. Nobody's going to know how many people there were years from now anyway. But I will tell you one more thing, and I hope this makes you feel better. I'm 64 years old, and not once has anyone given me a Woman of Enterprise award. Not once.
well, and it's not always something like a once in a career award like that. Sometimes it's just that we're out of, they decided to charge for hand lotion pumps or some
Right,
other decision that's going to get changed back in a year or so. I mean, some of
right.
these things, and the reason I wouldn't use the word devastated with that or any other big giant word is because I see people using that over the charging for pumps
Yeah.
or the lack of lip balm on the line or whatever. They're making everything into a big giant thing. And the
Don't tell me
customer,
they're messing with my lip balm. I'm kidding.
I think we only have one lip balm available at the moment. They're having some manufacturing problems, right? I know
Yeah.
everybody else says chapstick, but that's a brand name anyway.
All
But
right.
so, how I don't. I guess I'm. I wish I was a better coach because I'm I'm trying to get people to reframe, but some people are just hell bent on making everything a big giant drama, and it's
Right.
to their own detriment. They don't even realize they are shooting themselves in the foot by making.
Mhm.
When you say the fact that we're going to have to pay for pumps on a bottle is devastating, no, people dying in a foreign country because they don't have food, that's devastating.
Mhm.
Not
People
having
people
having to
deciding they're going to
pay
invade your country and kill a bunch of people, that's devastating.
a buck 87 or whatever we're going to have to pay for a pump on a bottle, that is, and to me, I don't know how you deal with it. That's why I wanted to ask you. With
Okay.
me, once I find out what the issue is, like this one, I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. My reaction is going to decide how this turns out. What's the benefits to me? How can I reword this? Or that's when I decided it's not going to matter in 10 years, that I can just
Right.
not, even my press releases at the time, I didn't say I was one of three. I said I
Right.
was the one. And with something like the pump, I just
Mhm.
think of the wording that I'm going to use with a customer. So when a customer, I'm not even going to bring it up. I'm certainly not going to create flyers telling everybody about it.
Right.
And some people are doing that. They have, yeah, I like that Facebook user said the drama is exhausting.
It
Exactly.
is.
But
Well,
there's people
here.
actually making a flyer about something they don't like that's going to happen, which that's just like what I'm not even going to even discuss it with a customer unless they order a bottle
Right.
of body lotion, and then I'm going to say, did you need the pump or are you going to use the one from last time?
Right.
And
Well,
that's it.
let me coach you how I would coach a sales manager who is working for me, or anybody out there who's watching us. If you've got people on a team and you've got to coach them through things like this, let me take you through a 4-step process that is, if you'll just remember the process, it takes a little practice, but it's perfect. When someone does something like that where they're starting to complain, step one is always control your own emotions first. If you get emotional, they'll respond just like you do. So it's about controlling your own emotions first. Step
So
two is
setting
about
the example.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
so, and I'm just talking about how you're about to interact with them. Make sure you have your emotions in control. It's like if you're parenting a kid and the kid falls down and busts their knee, if you walk over there all upset and excited, that kid's going to have a screaming fit. But
Right.
if you walk over there kind of laughing a little bit and say, "Hey, that looked like that wasn't a lot of fun, was it?" But grin about it, then they'll respond differently. But number one is control your own emotions. Number two is ask a question to make sure that you understand so that they hear you trying to make sure that you're clear on it. So you're saying that the new pump for $1.87 are bothering you. Is that I want to make sure I'm getting this right because of that. And they'll say yes. And then empathize with them. Lisa, just say, you know what? I get that that's a big deal to you. And I know there's not a lot I can really do about it on the other end of that, but I understand what you're saying and it means something to me. I get it. But let me refocus you. Step four is to change that frame, tilt it a little differently. Step four is, but let me let you think about this a little differently. It could have been, I'm guessing, that the company had a choice of raising the price of the product $1.87 to cover the expense, or to separate it out so that people that didn't need that pump wouldn't have to pay that $1.87 because they've already got a pump. So that saves them $1.87 that way. And so it was just kind of a business decision. I don't think they were trying to create these feelings for you. I don't think they were trying to create a problem. But if you think about it that way, you've got clients now that don't have to have a price increase because they still have the pump from the last one. And so it's a good thing for everybody when you think about it. But the most important thing is you got a dream. You're trying to build a business. You're trying to build an income, and your dream's bigger than $1.87 pump, isn't it?
Oh,
And you
I like
ask them.
that. That's why
So it's
you're the legend.
yeah, but I'm not the direct sales legend, Lisa Wilber. I am. I'm becoming more known for writing and stuff. But
I
anyway,
know. Trina Nutter, by the way, had a very good point that all the Avon representatives needs to hear this. We all need to do better at reusing and recycling. See, we could just say that. The company
right.
was so concerned about reusing and recycling, we're going to separate it out so that people that want to can just recycle their old pump. See,
Sure.
there's a million ways we can deal with this. I think that I try to not think that I have, like a couple of the representatives were saying, well, let's all get together and demand them not to do this or whatever. But even if that would work, which I don't subscribe to that theory that it would, it still would be like a year out. So between now and a year, you'd still have to figure out how to deal with it now.
Right.
So, but I think to your point, I need to get better about repeating what they say
Right.
and showing that I have empathy for what they're saying.
Yeah, even if you don't agree with it, you can really appreciate the fact that how it's affecting them, so you can show that empathy. Bob, I feel the need to say Bob Berg, but I know everybody on these calls now knows Bob pretty well and knows who we're talking about. But when Bob designed his objection-proof material, it was really kind of built on that same process. It's about controlling your own emotions, then restating it to make sure you really understand what's going on. Sometimes you might even ask more questions, see if there's anything deeper. But then empathizing with the concern, don't agree with it, but empathize with it, but then just tilt that frame slightly to show it in a different light. And then they'll feel better about it. Matter of fact, I used that process in the new book that we've got coming out because it's such a good way to handle that. And then I built a story kind of around that. But it's it works. Works pretty well.
It's working for you.
It's working for me. We need to say hi to people. Hey, Don King, glad you're here tonight. Don's already, Don just let a secret out. He was already pre-ordered Streetwise. It's actually, if you want to pre-order it now in the ebook format, you can. It's on Amazon. It's going to be you can pre-order it on Audible starting December 26th, assuming they get their job done. And you can pre-order the hardback on Barnes & Noble when I pull the trigger. We're not ready really to do all that, but Don is ahead of the game. My friend Don, our friend Don. Okay, Trina Nutter, love you. Glad you're here. Facebook users, sometimes I
He
can't
let
tell
the
who you
squirrel out of the nut house, Don. That's a good
I
one.
want to say hi. I miss people. Maureen,
Well,
hello. Oh,
and you know, I
goodness.
did want to say, the example I gave was the pump, but believe me, over
Mhm.
the last 40 years, there's been dozens and dozens of things that weren't the pump that were just
Right.
small little. To me, I quit when I hear a decision, especially something like that. I
Right.
don't. My first reaction is not do I like this or do I not like this. I actually no longer have an opinion, and no one believes me that I don't, because to me it doesn't matter what
You
my
don't do this up the screen to them?
that was because I'm not coachable. Let's face it, you and I both know I
I
work for
disagree. I think
myself.
you're very coachable. I think you have made major changes over the last year in so many ways. I think you are
Oh.
coachable.
Oh, thank you. That made me feel better, believe it or not. Hey, I didn't tell you last weekend I parallel parked.
Oh no.
This has been a year. Like 2023 has been like the year I parallel parked my van. That is a
Yeah,
big deal for me. No, anyway, so people don't believe me, but to me, it's not worth wasting time having an opinion about something that I don't have control over. So when a thing comes from corporate, I'm just like, well, okay. I don't think, do I like this? Do I not like this? Am I going to get upset? I don't even think about it anymore. I think, how am I going to word this so that customers are not going to have a reaction?
yeah.
You know what
You
I
have
mean?
to be prepared mentally for your team and for any customers.
Yeah.
Same thing about an objection. If a customer says that skin so soft is too darned expensive, you can keep your own emotions in control first, and you can say, "Well, look, let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You love skin so soft, and you love the product and all that, but you're thinking that they priced it too high right now. Yeah, that's what they've done. All right, it makes me so. Well, I understand how you feel because I can see how that would be a concern to you. But let me kind of shift your perspective a little bit, and then you give them whatever the right answer is going to be at the time based on the objection you're handling. But that process, what it does, first off, when you control your own emotions, you keep it from getting worse. Number two, when you restate it, you make sure that you understand it. But more importantly, you're letting them know you're trying to understand what they mean, and that's a big connection for them. Then when you empathize and you're letting them know, it just makes that connection better. And then that gives them the comfortable ability to let you reframe it. Before that, they wouldn't let you reframe it. They'd just argue with you. But if you do it
So
in
you
that
have
way,
to go through the steps. Yeah,
yeah,
I
they'll.
think I need to practice that more and get better at that. I
You're,
really
you're about to get a handbook on it.
I've read the handbook on it. Don't forget
Yeah, I
it.
know, but it's been tweaked a little since you read that. By the way,
Uh,
thank you so much for your endorsement of the book. It is much appreciated.
oh,
It's not every day
certainly.
we can get an endorsement from a direct sales legend like that.
Okay, now let's ask the audience. There's quite a few people here today.
Uh,
Luckily, one of my best buddies is Peg Duchesne, does one page media sheets, which I love. I
love
love the
Peg
one
too.
she did for me. Um, but I'm hesitant to use it. Now, her and I had this big discussion about it because it
Right,
says direct sales legend Lisa Wilber,
right.
and I'm not comfortable saying that about myself. So I want to hear what you guys have in the comments. Whether that would be, I don't want to be pompous. I don't. Have you ever thought of me in pompous? I don't want to
Never,
be.
never.
Okay.
Well, uh, see how
I
calm
don't.
I am. See how I'm calm.
Okay.
Lisa, let me ask you a question. Uh,
Yes.
You're saying that just the idea of putting direct sales legend on there makes you feel like you're being braggadocious and you're not feeling
Yes.
comfortable with
Yes.
that. It's kind of making
Somebody
you
that
feel
has never met me and doesn't know me, they're going to
right,
get this thing where I'm saying I'm a legend, and
right,
I'm
right,
afraid they'll think I'm
right.
pompous.
Well,
Yeah.
I can see how that'd be a bit of a concern to you because you don't want to feel that
You're
way.
going to
And
try.
then when it makes you feel bad inside and
Let me
you're
reframe this
concerned about
for
how
you.
that now
Yes.
reframe it. So let's think about how we could make other terms up that would still get, because you've got a lot of credibility in direct sales. Number one, you've been a direct sales leader. Quite frankly, you have been a direct sales legend because so many people know you that aren't even in your team. But you've
Okay.
been a direct sales leader for decades, extremely successful. You're Avon's. You used to be Avon's fourth highest producer, but now you're fifth. But so, what other terms can we come up with that would still convey that credibility, but use maybe a different phrase other than direct sales legend? What can we brainstorm on that? Okay, there you go, Peg. That's how you handle that.
I guess I just don't know what I told you in the green room, because I'm struggling with this whole thing. Believe
Right.
it or not, that seems crazy to struggle with that, but is what I've done in the past is like when someone introduced me and didn't use what I wrote for them, like at some event overseas I was speaking, and Avon introduced me as the best known Avon representative in the world. Oh, I went nuts for that. I love that. I use that all over the place, because once they used it, it made it credible for me to use it. And I thought, oh, that's perfect. I love that.
Right.
But I don't want to come off as me going around telling everybody I'm a legend. I don't know.
Well, when you're getting comments on there, you are the best. And quite frankly, I get that. And that's
Do
absolutely
you think
true.
it
But this
adds
is,
to my credibility to say legend? Or
I think I think that whether it's used or not used is not near as important as how it's making you feel inside. So
okay,
what you do is you find another, but what you don't want to do is to pick a term that lowers the level of credibility you've earned, and the people who
okay,
are going to want you on their shows are going to want that credibility. That's something they can
right.
promote. So that's
That's a
not a
good
bad
point.
thing at all. And you and Peg can come up with another way to do it if that one's making you uncomfortable, because there's many ways to say it in a way that gets you there.
Because maybe I
I got
should just think of it as the person receiving the one sheet that has no idea who I am would
right,
want somebody with a level of credibility that they're going to be proud to have on their show,
right,
and not think about it as being braggadocious.
right. And truthfully, that's the kind of thing usually too. People when it's sent out, granted, you may send it out yourself, but when it's sent out, most people think of those things as being prepared by other people talking about you, and it makes perfect sense. So they're not
Oh,
going to
okay.
necessarily perceive it the same as you will, but there's going to be a good combination you and Peg can do that are going to be perfect on that. No doubt.
Don said braggadocious is just a town in Texas, isn't it?
Don also put something earlier. He put one of the Zig Ziglar lines about it saying, "You think our price is too high? Are you saying our price is too high?" And then a pause. But one of my favorite things that Zig Ziglar did when I saw him do this on stage, and I cracked up. Somebody said, "I really want to think about it." He said, "All right," and he pulled out his wrist. He looked at his watch, and said, "Go." I thought that was hilarious. I tried it. It did not work well for me.
Well, at least you tried it. That's
I
awesome.
did. I laughed. So they did laugh, but it didn't really work.
Oh, you know what happened to me today that you will love? I was checking out at the grocery store, and I was in the 15 or less line, and I wasn't sure I had 15. So I said to the lady, I didn't count, but I think I'm close. She said, I'm going to give you a pass because of your beautiful hair. And I said,
This is
oh God.
working for you.
I said, can I do whatever I want? And she said, yes, you can. I said, you are not going to believe this. And I was dressed like this. Of course, this is the issued uniform for New Hampshire, right? Flannel plaid. And I
That's
said,
blingy plaid there.
I said, you are not going to believe this, but I wrote a book. And I took full credit. Sorry. I wrote a book called
You're
Said the
allowed.
Lady with the Blue Hair. She said, oh, you're kidding me. Is it a kid's book? And I said, no, actually, it's a sales book because I'm the number 5 money earner in the US with Avon. And she said, you are kidding me. And she wanted, so then she wanted Avon from me. It was awesome. That worked
So
so
she has
good.
to
But it
buy the
was
book.
all about the hair. Well, right, of course. She asked me where to get it, so I think that's on her list too. So she was just so impressed that she said the fact that you have a book out is so impressive. Yeah,
Hey,
that's awesome.
Kristen. Hey, June. Hey, Peg. I feel bad if we don't say hi to everybody. If we've missed anybody, I'm so sorry. Hello to you
Don
too.
King said, I love Zig's Southern version of that objection. Y'all are mighty proud of that product, aren't you?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, I just sent one of our books to Julie Ziegler Norman, the daughter,
Did
because
you really?
I know her. Yeah, I know her.
Good.
I hope she remembers me. I was at an event. We both spoke.
Right.
And that was the one that I met Zig Ziglar. She was with him at that point. So I hope she
I
sees,
got to
oh, I
shake his
remember her.
hand. I got to shake Zig's hand, but I wouldn't call it a meeting per se. But I have met Tom Ziegler, his son. I've met
Oh,
him before at an
nice.
event. So,
Yeah.
but I loved Zig, and Bob does the absolute best impression of Zig
Oh,
Ziglar.
God,
I
yeah.
think Bob does Zig better than Zig did Zig. I really do. But are you saying that our price is too high, or are you saying that the value in your mind isn't high enough yet? I don't remember how he phrased it, but it was good.
I used to always like it when Bob would random call me just to say it, do Zig. I don't think he does it as much anymore, and that's probably because I see him every Wednesday.
Well,
He used
I'm
to be
working on a new keynote address for speaking events, and I can't do Zig, and I love how Bob will do Zig in his keynotes, but I can do Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he said, Jeff, you got to work your Arnold Schwarzenegger impression in. You know, I don't know what to tell you about that. You can take that objection and you can let it bother you, and you can be a girly man, or you can take these 4 steps and you can work within that objection. Never overcome an objection.
How did I not know you did that?
Oh, get down, get down, get down.
You've been hiding that. How did I know? How did I not know about that?
I was once the governor of California.
It's the girly man part.
You let the objection bother you, you girly man. What do you want to do? Get up, get up. Take it through those 4 steps. Get up. Work within that objection.
Oh.
I'm working on the new keynote. I tell you, a couple of the stories that I'm going to work into the new keynote, you heard recently. One, of course, with Tony and Anna Concevelos, and what they were talking about with the story with how they go out of their way to take care of the customers. And the one I want to use is where the doctor called them and they went into the pharmacy at late on, like on a Saturday night or something like that, and made something for someone for their eye. And the doctor called them back later and said, I want you to know that you saved the guy's eye.
Yeah.
That's one.
Awesome.
And the other one I want to use is what Holly told. I haven't talked to her about using it, so I don't have permission.
Yeah.
But the story of what she did
Those
for
are
the
both awesome.
people on the wine tour.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of fusion points that set such great examples. Oh gosh. Anyway,
we talked about that on the Team Time Tuesday, because for us, that's probably true a lot of things, but we sell a commodity. You can buy shampoo and face cream just about anywhere. Now, I'm sure ours is awesome, but it's got to be an experience. And there's so many representatives that don't understand that we sell a commodity, and that, if they're not having a good experience, they're not going to wait a week for their stuff. They're just going to run on down to Rite Aid. So you have to be extra cognizant of the fact that it needs to be a pleasant experience. So we were talking about the little things that we could do to make it a better experience for everybody.
Well, back when I was in the uniform business, the president of the company, he was not a real polished person, but he was a very good person. And he wasn't in sales himself. He was the president of the company. I think he started in sales and worked his way up. But he said, the secret about selling, he said, if people like you, they'll find a way to do business with you. If they don't like you, it doesn't matter how good we are. You're out the door.
Right. Well, and the way to get liked, now this seems so obvious, but is to be pleasant. If you're not in a good mood, don't answer the phone. Don't be dealing with I've been with an Avon representative, when a customer's called and they haven't wanted to take the call, they answered it and were, what is the word, brusque? They were, and I thought, because they actually were like, I really wish you wouldn't call me during the day or whatever they said. And I'm thinking, right. Don't answer if that's what you're going to do. But I think we have to be so, it's not just big ticket item people, like insurance is a bigger ticket item. it's
Right.
lip balm, it's face cream, it's whatever you're selling. You have to, it's an experience. You have to, because they can get it somewhere else, almost anything. They can get it somewhere else. Oh, be pleasant and dye your hair blue. That's how you succeed in hair in the
Oh,
world of sales is dye your hair blue.
I'm wondering when the new book comes out if I need to go find a dusty tuba somewhere and start playing a tuba on a show or something like that. So
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think Bob and I will do a lot of live things like what you and I've done over the last year. But we're going to start inviting people to the Facebook group if they'd like to launch with us and all that. And we're putting copy together as we speak. I'm so excited about this book, Lisa.
Oh, it's
And I
so
have
good. It's
well,
so good.
it's thank you, thank you. It's
Well,
it's a good
plus it's
story, and I'm
yeah, it's your number one, you're the number one fanboy for Bob Berg.
I am.
I can't even imagine how excited you must be to be doing a project with him.
It's a lifelong dream come true in a lot of ways. And I
That's
remember when I wrote the Unexpected Tour Guide, kind of the little thought in the back of my head, I wonder if Bob would like to do a book together. But at that time, he and John David Mann were still writing sequels to The Go Giver and all that. So there wasn't going, that wasn't going to be a relationship I would even slightly think about involving myself in the middle of
yeah.
it. And over the years, I became friends with both Bob and John. And John's kind of moved on to novel writing primarily, and he's doing some parables, but it's it
So
it
in
was the
other
right
words,
timing.
you did a Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe move as soon as as, as soon
Hey,
as
what?
John David Mann was off the field, you got yourself on the field and you weren't back on the field.
Not necessarily that way. Actually,
I meant it
John
in a
and
good
Bob had
way.
talked.
I meant that in the best possible way.
You meant that in the best possible way.
The best.
Actually, John and Bob had talked about
Mhm.
possibly doing this at one point, and John had said it just didn't because Bob had some material that he'd had somebody else work on at one time, and it wasn't reflecting the right way. And John said, I don't have the bandwidth to take that on right now. And last year, about this time, maybe a little bit before this, it was definitely after Blue Hair had launched, and we were around this time of year. Bob sent me an email one day, said, "Hey, when we do our parable, let's do it. Think about this." And it was just a little comment in an
Did you pee
email.
your pants?
I'm a grown man. I don't think I would ever do that until it later. All right. But I sent him an email back and kind of answered his question because he was asking about something, and I answered his
Oh,
question. And then
Peg said.
below that I put, and by the way, if you're serious, that answer is yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I might have said that to you when you asked me. Peg said you needed to work with Lisa and Wilber first before Bob would work with you.
At least
Oh,
Peg, that there's not a lot of fake there. That's not off base that much because Lisa, what you and I did, we produced a good book together with a good business model on it, and that elevated my credibility in the writing.
well, and to be able to do with another person, right? Because
Mhm,
you hadn't done that yet, so maybe
right.
that helped him decide you would be a good to work with as far as writing,
So,
or
well,
no?
he and I both we knew we could work well together. It's just about the fact that we produced a good book, and it elevated my reputation, and that's a good thing. And then now, because I mean, heck, John's been mentoring me on my writing. I take John's writing class, and my writing's gotten better. As much as I love Blue Hair, and I miss Kai so much. Oh God, sometimes I almost weep at night because I miss Kai. But now I'm in love with Livia, the lady in the new book. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
am. I'm in love with that girl. But but what it did between Blue Hair and then even more so with going through the writing class with John over the year, uh, my craft, I'm getting better at what I'm supposed to be getting better at. And that's always a good thing. But it's elevating some credibility for me, which is huge, and I have you to thank for that. I really do, because you
Well,
you said yes
and
to the project and we did it together.
I am so, so, so happy for everything you do going forward because all my buddies on here don't realize that every time that you have another hit after this, you're dragging me up the you're dragging me up the mountain with you, because
I'm not dragging you. I'm holding your hand and we're walking together, girl.
but that's true for both of us. So no matter what we do from here on out, it helps the sales of the Blue Hair book. So I'm not sure I want to do a book alone after this. This was and it seems like it compounds the effect when you have a second person.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're both out there doing more projects, and it's both helping the original project. I mean,
Right.
it's just like a perfect storm of promotions.
By
It's
the
awesome.
way, if any of you out there are not on my email distribution list yet, go to jeffcwest.com, and on the homepage there, you can scroll down. There's a thing that's an advertisement basically for the new book coming out, Streetwise to Saleswise. Click, put your email in there and click it, because you can actually download. Originally, I was just going to do the first chapter, but now I've actually done the prologue in the first 2 chapters. So I'm going to introduce you to the main character of Thaddeus Tucker, who is the biggest smart aleck. And he gets himself in a bad position. I'll leave it at that. But I'm also introducing you to Olivia Cole, who is just a darling sweetheart.
Jeff's in
And I'm
love
not going to say,
with.
oh, I love Olivia. I do. I can't help myself. I was telling Bob today, we were talking about myself. I said, I'm in love with Olivia. I can't help myself. I fell in love with Kai. Yeah, it's just there. But you can get the prologue and the first 2 chapters both. And if you'd rather have it where you just read it, it's the PDF will be there for you.
And
but you can also download the audio book for those 2 chapters. And it's funny. The prologue and the first 2 chapters are all me, so you don't hear Bob's voice yet. Bob's voice comes in on chapter 3, but the files are good. The audio book quality is good. Bob, I did the same thing with this one I did with you and I had Bob record, I recorded, and then I edited it together, and it's coming across very seamlessly. And it sounds like we were talking to each other at the time. So
there's no way that Bob gave you the 1-finger salute, though.
He did not. Actually, I didn't have to do that with Bob. Bob went to a studio just like I did, and he recorded it there. And he had a producer there.
Yeah, Don said, "Did Bob do the same thing Lisa did?" Right? That's a legendary move right there.
So that's the answer, Peg. Instead of referring to her in the one pager as direct sales legend, you can change it to legendary bird flipper.
God.
That laugh sounded like my dad. My dad had a high pitched laugh. That's my dad.
Oh, and all these trips I've been going down to Yonkers, right? I do not involve myself in, I know, green room. I do not involve myself in hand gestures when I'm driving. I don't. Can you imagine that?
You could get hurt.
Right. So they could be packing heat. So when somebody does something bad, I go.
I'll tell you a funny story. Then I know we're over time. We have to get off.
Yes.
I was driving in traffic in Dallas, Texas one time, and I was moving along pretty well. It was a good stretch of nobody bothering, and I was doing like 70 or 75-ish. Somebody gets behind me and they're flashing their lights, and I thought, well, what a jerk. And so I pull over, and I did what you did to me. It turned out it was one of my friends, and he was letting me know he was behind me. I told him later, I said, sorry about that. He said, no worries. I said, I'm just glad you weren't my pastor.
I have seen people going so fast on that road. Last weekend, I saw someone actually going 90. And the reason I know it was 90, because I was going 75 in the 55, and he blew by me. He blew by me so fast that the van shook. He flew by me.
We've got roads. There is a toll road that goes around Austin, Texas, that I think the speed limit on it is 85. It's at least 80.
I think it's wide
85.
open with no mountains or anything. This is a 2-lane road with no breakdown lane.
I'm so sorry you have to deal with that. Did I tell you how cold it is here today? I'm wearing this hoping. I know. I'm wearing this hoping it gets cold. All right, we got to go. Everybody, we love you guys. Please be watching in the group. I will post something soon as an everyone notice to invite you to the launch group for
the new book.
Streetwise to Saleswise. Become objection proof and beat the sales blues. I love it, Tom.
It's an
Thank
awesome
you, Andrew.
book.
Alexandra
really is.
Watkins helped with that title. She was great. So anyway,
Oh,
but
it
we've got
did.
to get out of here. If you
Yes,
haven't,
sir.
if you've never posted a review for us, please go online to Amazon and say the lady with the blue hair is the best book you've read since the Bible. No, I'm kidding. Say whatever you want to say.
And keep the squirrel memes coming in the Blue Brigade. We love it. We love it, everybody. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Did y'all see the picture I posted where the squirrel was at the dadgum door?
The dadgum door. Yes.
The dadgum.
Was that
I posted
a
a picture.
real picture? Was
Yeah,
that
he
really
ends up there
Conway?
going, "Can
Was
Jeff
that
come out and play?"
Was
That
it
was a real
Conway?
picture.
Oh.
I don't know. I think I shot Conway. I know I didn't shoot Conway. Conway may have disappeared though. All right. So
You Jimmy Hoffa Conway. That was not nice.
I can neither confirm nor deny that particular rumor. All right, everybody. We love you guys.
Love you.
We're doing a
Thank you
show
very
next
much.
week. Is that right? Or are we taking off for Christmas week? I know we're taking off for Christmas week because I'm going to be traveling.
I think it is next week because I'm going to be on the road. So let's just leave it like this, though. Make sure during the holidays that you look in the Blue Brigade to see if we're going to be live or not. We'll put in there
Right.
for sure what's going to happen. That way, you know. So go look on Thursday or Wednesday to make sure what we're doing. And
Right.
we'd love to spend time with you, but we also have family obligations as well. So,
Right.
okay.
All right,
Thank
everybody.
you,
Love you
sir.
guys. You'll take care. See you next time.
Love you, everybody. Thank you. Mwah.
Do it like Bob and Kathy.